Weirdest of all, comedians lost their sense of humor. Here, for example, is deeply unfunny comedian Samantha lecturing America about Ivanka Trump last night. Watch.
You know, Ivanka, that's a beautiful photo of you and your child, but let me just say, one mother to another, do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless. He listens to you. Put on something tight and low-cut and tell your father to stop it.
A dumb person's political harangue masquerading as comedy. Well, profoundly sad filmmaker Michael Moore proclaimed all what you just saw, quote, brilliant. He called Samantha a truth teller. Comedian Billy Eichner wrote on Twitter he thought was being, quote, generous. Tonight, is receiving an award from the Television Academy for, quote, leveraging the dynamic power of television to inspire social change. Well, Samantha later apologized for that on Twitter, assuming a tweet rates as an apology, but doubtless that's just temporary. She'll likely be bragging about all of this at another award ceremony very soon. Meanwhile, Kathy Griffin, who is probably the single unhappiest person in this country, used her appearance on a daytime show called The View to launch another political lecture. When White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders responded to that, Griffin wrote a profane tweet attacking Sarah Sanders. Blah, 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 blah. F you, basically. Where did Kathy Griffin learn to talk like that? Well, maybe from U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, who is now regularly using the F word in her public appearances. Here's one.
So what about President Trump? Has he kept any of these promises? No. No. Fundamentally, if we are not helping people, we should go the home.
Now, she's not the quickest of the U.S. senators, but even so, it says something broader about what's happening in the Democratic Party. So the left is arguing that Trump is radical. How have they responded? By becoming way more radical, by going completely off the edge. They say Trump is vulgar. Okay. So now they shout profanity on television and at campaign events. Amazingly, Trump has somehow convinced the Democratic Party to completely destroy itself. No one ever says that, but it may be the biggest change he has brought to this country. It's fascinating. Radio show host Tammy Bruce joins us tonight. She's been watching carefully. So don't you think it's interesting? I mean, if you're making the case that Trump is kind of out there and he says things that are ill-considered and he's profane, you know, that's all kind of true. Wouldn't your response be, I'm the responsible one? Instead, they're out trumping Trump by like 3x, and they've gone so crazy that they may not even win the House back. Why are they doing that?
Well, look, these women are making Trump at this point look like Sir Galahad.
Exactly.
When it comes to their behavior. And I think his third and fourth terms at this point have been pretty much secured after these displays.
It's totally true.
It's not new. I mean, what's happened is, because of their rage, that the curtain's been pulled back. They just don't care about hiding the nature of who they are. You didn't mention Sally Field. Sally Field, the actress, the flying nun, also defended the use of the C word. And at the same time, what she's saying is, what they're trying to do is normalize the debasement of women in the name of being able to attack a woman with whom they disagree because they think she's conservative, but of course the irony is Ivanka is not a conservative. It is a meltdown, but it is a reveal also, I think, why someone like Weinstein could survive so long in that world.
That's right.
When you're willing to reduce and have no principles, when you refuse to stand up for what's right because someone's a political opponent, that anything goes. So the American people are seeing what this means. They're seeing that this is certainly not a framework not only of their values, but of a kind of an ugliness. Now, at the same time, look, people in media make mistakes. On the fly, that we know this, you genuinely can regret something and apologize. The problem with what the Samantha dynamic represents, which is different to some degree from Roseanne Barr, who's doing a tweet, it was scripted, it was clearly edited with an editing team, then it was taped, then it aired, then it was put on social media, and it was promoted. And when those vile misogynistic words started to trend on Twitter, her executive producer was excited.
Well, so that's the thing. And by the way, we should point out that she works for the same network that owns CNN. And look, I mean, I've worked in newsrooms my whole life. I use vulgarity. I enjoy it. I don't want to be a blue nose about it. But that one word that she used, I don't know any man who uses that word because it is kind of the one word that is actually degrading. It's the thing that feminists are always telling us. But that word really is. Why that word?
It's fascinating. It reduces us to a vile terminology, to a part of our body, into the ultimate debasement of who we are as women. And this transcends politics and party and everything else. This is about loathing and hate. They have no ideas. They see the president is successful. We should all be happy that he is, because of the nature of what he's been able to accomplish. And yet, because they don't know how to counter it, it returns into this, ultimately it's the fraud of people like Schneiderman or Weinstein, the nature of this kind of attack, the misogyny. That was my first book in 2001. That misogyny and sexism, the homophobia, racism lives on the left. And again, it's not about if you don't like something someone has said. We can all deal with that,
right?
And we've all made mistakes. This is a concerted, scripted attitude, and then for other women to support it and try to normalize. Sally Field was well liked to some degree. To try to normalize this debasement means they at least have gone off the rails.
Yeah, I mean, I get that people have, disagreements with Trump, but these people are scary. I mean, I don't think they should be anywhere near power. They're starting to really scare me. I'm not just saying that. I watch this stuff every day. Anyway, Tammy, great to see you. Thanks
for having me on.
That smart
Appreciate
analysis,
it.
always.
Thank you.
Well, the beauty of being a liberal political analyst in 2018 is it's really simple. No matter what the issue is or the concern might be, it's a safe bet that you can tie it directly to Trump. No matter what, hurricanes, higher gas prices, the ongoing war or famine in Absurdistan, even Roseanne Barr's Twitter feed, all of them are about Trump. Watch this as college professor and professional shakedown artist Michael Eric Dyson shows how it's done. This is MSNBC last night.
Well, we got a bigot in chief and we got a racist in residence. That's what it is. He has unleashed some of the most horrendous viewpoints, bigotries, and racism in this country. He's legitimated them. He's validated them. He said, look, it's okay. Come out the closet, stand up and speak straightforwardly, and tell the world what you believe.
We lower our standards. It's unbelievable. I know we all hate Trump, but it's so stupid. Not stupid is Mark Steyn, who joins us tonight. What do you make of this? I mean, I feel like I don't want to overstate. I don't want to be hysterical like they are, but I feel like we're watching actually something profound. They're melting down, it looks like to me.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on, Tucker. I mean, we live in a coarsened culture. And everybody has said that. I think one of the reasons why Samantha Bee, for example, used the C word is that the F word has been drained of its power.
No, that's exactly right.
It was when, I believe, it was Ken Tynan, I think, who first said the F word on TV on the BBC back in the 60s. The Irish playwright Brendan Behan had done it a couple of years before, but he was so drunk that nobody actually understood that that's the word he had used. So Ken Tynan got the credit for it on the BBC. And that word has so lost its force, in part because it's now said routinely on family shows that they've had to move to, Samantha Bee had to move to the C word. What I find interesting was the crowd went deliriously wild about it. There's no joke there. There's no insight there. There's no particular point there. But the fact that she said the C word has the crowd. Well, we really got our value for money. If we'd been here, 120 years ago, we'd have wanted to see a trapeze artist or a tap dancer or an Irish tenor. But today we're happy to go into a theatre and cheer deliriously when somebody says the C word. And that's actually something that, if anyone digs that clip out in several decades, they'll be interested to look at, I think.
Well, it really is like looking at old pictures of the Cultural Revolution from China with all these, children with their little red books and saluting all this nonsense. And you're thinking, how could a huge group of people go simultaneously insane? And it's just mass hysteria. It's a human thing. So what, in the end, is the effect of this? Do normal people look on and say, Samantha Bee has got to be, Kathy Griffin too, two of the unhappiest people in America. I don't want anything they're selling. Or do they say, wow, sign me up for whatever she's got?
No, I think that you're right to detect a certain joylessness in it. I think there's also a logic, though, because we're on two incompatible tracks. On the one hand, you have this general coarsening F-word, C-word, C-word, F-word. But on the other, you have ever more protected classes of people. So you have people you can't say anything about because they're black, they're gay, they're Muslim, they're transgender, whatever's next down the pike. Which means that it's actually only people who are associated with Trump or who are religious conservatives or who are whatever. It's a very narrow sliver of people you can unleash the blizzard of F and C words on. And that's the contradiction. And as we've talked about before, Tucker, it's actually killing comedy. I mean, the fantastic thing about this clip is that it's a supposed comedy show. It's got writers. It's, as Tammy was saying, it's pre-taped. It's all carefully edited, but there actually isn't a joke in there underneath. There's just the word.
So if you could just quickly, I know it was only a couple of years ago, but remind me why NBC fired Billy Bush. He laughed at a joke that was less vulgar than this, and he got fired and they destroyed his life because why? Do you remember? Right. I don't remember.
No, exactly, and that's the injustice here. I mean, Roseanne, who I don't think is any kind of conservative, I've never said that, but Roseanne has had 40 years of work vaporized over her tweet, and unlike Samantha Bee, she's actually funny, and she was funny in a lefty way. She had lesbian kisses 30 years ago, but her lesbian kiss has been vaporized with everything else because she's perceived as supporting Trump. That double standard is ridiculous.
And it's been scrubbed from digital. You can't, it's like the Dukes of Hazzard. You can't find it. Unbelievable. Mark Steyn, thank you for chronicling this revolution with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Tucker.
Last time we told you about a series of blog posts apparently written by MSNBC weekend anchor Joy Reid more than a decade ago. At the time, Reid was not the humorless progressive robot you know so well today. At the time, her views on immigration, for example, were somewhere to the right of Donald Trump, and that makes sense since mass immigration hurts poor people the most. Well, tonight we have a new set of antique Joy Reid blog posts uncovered by BuzzFeed. In one post entitled Baghdad John Strikes Again, Reid shared an image of John McCain's face superimposed onto the body of the Virginia Tech mass shooter. Couldn't do that today. Reid also promoted a 9/11 conspiracy documentary. She attacked Congressman Barney Frank of Massachusetts for the crime of being gay, and she wrote a satirical piece about Tony Blair's son visiting gay bathhouses in the U.S. Spicy. Reid, of course, previously claimed that her blog had somehow been retroactively hacked by unseen saboteurs, probably Russian agents or Macedonians or something. That's almost certainly a lie, but it was definitely amusing. How will she explain these? Well, we're still awaiting a new excuse from NBC News. As soon as they make one up, of course, we'll be the first to tell you.